Congressman Eric Burlison from the great state of Missouri sat down with ASKAPOL's Matt Laslo to discuss the UAP topic. And he gave some very interesting and informative answers about Lou Elizondo and David Grusch. Lou Elizondo was the former head of ATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program for the Pentagon. And David Grusch is the famous UFO whistleblower, testified before Congress this past summer, just in case you didn't know. So let's dive in. I've got 3 clips to look at, and I'm going to comment after each clip. So let's just jump in. If you're new to the channel, y'all, and you like content like this, please hit that subscribe button. I put out a new video every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I do not miss a day. And please hit that like button, y'all. That really helps out the videos. So thank y'all so much for the support there, vetters. And of course, comment down below. What do you think of these comments, statements made by Representative Eric Burlison? I find them quite fascinating, to be honest with you. And yes, I know I use that word a lot. I like that word. Let's jump in. All right, first clip here, provided by Skyfire News. Again, links in the description. I put a link to the original source, which again is on ASKAPOL's website. Real quick, I'm going to show you guys that before we even get going, so it's not stuck at the end of the video. Please go get a subscription if you can from ASKAPOL. I bought a yearly subscription. It wasn't very expensive at all. And yeah, you get access to a lot of groundbreaking news that journalist Matt Laslo brings to the UAP topic, y'all. Okay, he's boots on the ground in Washington, D.C. He gets amazing news, interviews, sound bites, all of that, and you can get direct access to it. And that's where these clips come from, right? So anyway, I'll put a link in the description so you can go check out the original source. And again, sign up for a subscription on ASKAPOL. No, they did not pay me to say that. I'm just saying it because I believe it to be true. Support them. All right, let's jump into the first clip that Skyfire News threw out. So I'll put links to the 3 clips and then, again, links to the original source. Please check that out. All right, so this first clip says, what are you doing to make sure, let me read this better. What are you doing to make sure you're not being purposefully misled by some of these characters like Lou Elizondo, whose claims have been debunked? New York Post reporter Stephen Greenstreet asked Representative Burlison this question in an ASKAPOL Discord call. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. So they did this like hour-and-a-half interview, and these 3 clips are from that. And let's just jump into this.
Floor is yours.
Hi there, Congressman. This is Steve Greenstreet with the New York Post. Can you hear me?
Hi, how are you?
Yep.
Come through. What are you doing to make sure that you are not being purposely misled by some of these characters like Lou Elizondo, whose claims have been debunked?
Right. I don't believe hardly anything you can tell me. This is why I was pretty blunt at the beginning of all of this. I'm from Missouri. You're going to have to show me. So I do think it is. What I can say is that it has been validated to me that there is over compartmentalization. It's been validated by the office of both offices of Inspector General that many of Grush's claims, while they can't verify his claims about aliens, that many of his claims about the processes and the way in which information is not being conveyed to Congress has been validated, and that to me is enough to, as someone that is trying to do the due diligence of representing the taxpayers and taxpayer funds. I think I owe it to the American people to be responsible to follow through.
Thank you very much, Congressman.
Well, and Congressman, one thing I'm learning.
Hey, and please,
I was going to say
please reach out to my office as well, because I really enjoyed your article. I thought you were doing some good work there.
And Congressman, I was.
So that's interesting. So Representative Eric Burlison saying that he kind of likes Stephen Greenstreet's article. I don't know which one, right? It's written many, so not sure which article he's speaking of. But, you know, it's kind of a loaded question from Stephen Greenstreet. Let's be real. He's like, characters like Elizondo, right? You're already loading the question up. Again, I don't understand why a journalist that works for a major publication like that cannot be objective, right? And Eric Burlison saying he likes his stuff is, again, I don't have any problem with asking questions. I do it all the time, but it's just a loaded question to him, right, to begin with, right? So anyway, found those answers interesting, right? He doesn't just believe anything he's told, right? He's saying that the Inspector General verified parts of David Grush's claims, not the alien stuff, but the over-compartmentalization of stuff. That is how you get away with overspending, right? They split it up, all this stuff, then no one knows what's going on. Money can get, misspent, which I would imagine happens all throughout the government. So that's one clip. Let's go to the next one. Congressman, let me back this up here. Congressman on UFO whistleblower joining congressional staff. So basically the backstory here is there was a story out that David Grusch was trying to join, be a staff member to a potential, congressperson and work sort of as intel, work behind the scenes, right? Try to help with UAP disclosure or movements, right? So this is Eric Burlison commenting on that. And to quote him exactly, he says, I don't think that Grush needs a job. He doesn't need to come back, to the federal government. He just wanted to help. Representative Burlison spoke of David Grush in an ASKAPOL Discord call. Let's play the clip. Hang on. Here. They put ASKAPOI. 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 Hey, those kind of mistakes happen, y'all. When you're editing a lot, you got a lot of content to put out. So don't be so hard on Skyfire. That stuff happens. I've done it. ASKAPOL's done it. We've all done it. ASKAPOI's done it. Everyone's done it.
ASKAPOL, we broke the news that someone on the UAP caucus was looking to hire David Grush on their staff to kind of get his insider perspective to help guide the investigation. What do you think about that? Would that be helpful?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Grush, so when we had during some of the meetings with the UAP caucus, it was really the idea was presented by Anapuna Luna and her office. And the idea is that we might be able to, first the idea was to approach him to see about becoming a shared staffer for all of us or become a staffer for one of us. And so I volunteered to reach out to him. I think he's open to the concept. But what we have to do is research. So I guess I'm breaking this information.
I know. I was going to say, you outed yourself, not me.
So what we have to do is, and what my staff have been doing since this whole thing began, this was the thing that I kind of told you about weeks and weeks ago, is that there's something that I'm doing that's coming. And so the problem is that the amount of investigation for our staff to determine what kind of authority Grush would have if we hired him, what would that return his security clearance? What would we be able to do if it would actually make sense, and would the grease be worth the squeeze, if you will? And so that's what we have been evaluating. And I don't think that Grush needs a job. He doesn't need to come back to the federal government. He's just wanting to help and be in a position where he can provide us the information.
But it sounds like it sounds like you're not getting speedy answers to your questions. No, we're not. And so we're trying to get that. I think that where we came to where we have come to the conclusion at this point is that the best ideal scenario is that we get the subcommittee and that it's staffed, and then we can look to hire people like David Grush to come in and others to come in to work that committee. That's the best case scenario, and so that's what I'm pursuing. And you think?
Okay, so basically he's saying the idea was, right, to get David Grusch in as a staffer for one of these Congress people, and then potentially they decide, well, maybe it could be a shared staffer, right, amongst everybody. Everyone can kind of chip in on, with their budget. And then Representative Eric Burlison has talked about something that he's got coming up that has to do with UAP disclosure, whether it be a meeting, hearing, something big he said he's working on, and getting David Grusch involved with that, right? And then at the end there, he's like, okay, maybe we get the subcommittee together, then we can have people like Grusch and other people come and join and work towards that. So I'm curious what everyone thinks about that, because that is sort of a different path, right? Because originally David Grusch was going to be part of Soul. That's what he was moving forward with. But now it looks like, and maybe do both, I don't know, getting David Grusch back into the federal government, which is interesting. If you could be a whistleblower, like, can you come back and work like that? I don't know the rules. But I personally, I guess I don't really have a problem with that, if I'm being honest. That's probably what we need, right? So who would be these people? Who do you think would be best suited? Put in the comments, who do you think would be best suited to come then join the congressional staff, right, as a staffer and help with a UAP subcommittee behind the scenes? Grush clearly comes to mind for most people, and he's being considered by Eric Burlison and others. Pardon me, but I'm curious what some other people that you guys think might, would Lou Elizondo come back? I don't know, Ryan Graves, right? I don't know. They have other projects going on, because that seems like that'd be a full-time gig. I mean, David Grusch just seems like, the last Boy Scout, man. Bruce Willis, Damon Wayans. I mean, not like that. If you've seen the movie, I don't mean that kind of character, but just like he's literally, trying to do his best, right? Public service. I don't think we run across many people like Grush who are trying to do the right thing. And I respect that guy more and more the more I hear about him. Look at him, wanting to get involved. He doesn't need the job, but he wants to continue to help with this. So I can appreciate that, to be honest with you. And shout out to Eric Burlison for being open and honest and willing to talk to Matt and discuss these things. And that's breaking news basically right there, right? That what the plans are for Grush and maybe other people like Grush within the UFO community going to work for Congress directly. Again, who would these people be? Would it be some of these whistleblowers that haven't come out yet? Curious. Definitely interesting. All right, last clip here. It's a little spicy, but kind of necessary. Congressman asks Lou Elizondo if he is part of psyop. I asked Lou Elizondo directly. There's quite a few people on the internet who think this is all a psyop. Representative Burlison spoke of asking Elizondo about the fake alien threat narrative in an ASKAPOL Discord call. So basically this idea that, right, this is all psyop from the government, from the CIA, intelligence agencies, to cover up our own advanced tech or whatever the reason may be, but that this is all fake. There is no alien threat to national security, none of that, right? It's people like Lou Elizondo, Chris Mellon, right, sort of sending this message, and other people, right? So just, for a little backstory. Oh, let's hear this clip.
Because I asked Lou Elizondo directly. I said, because there's quite a few people on the internet that believe that this is all a psyop, and that the intelligence community, the Pentagon, want to continue to float this idea that there are, what if there are UAPs? What if we might be facing an alien threat, and therefore we need to spend more money? We need to build up the military-industrial complex. It's a logical. You can see why that might be a motivating factor. So I asked that directly to Lou Elizondo. I said, what do you say to anybody that to some of the theories that you guys, because Lou, he's an interesting character. He didn't, he worked in the CIA. He was embedded in military operations, not so much UAPs. And before he was assigned that program, and I'm not sure. What I'm saying is that I can see how how I can see why people would have a skepticism about whether or not he's legitimate and whether or not or that he might be part of a psyop to bolster more funds for the Department of Defense and for the Pentagon.
All right.
But Lou said to me that he would that they would not do that because it would mean that they were lying to members of Congress and they don't want to go to jail. Yeah. That was his response.
That's an interesting response, I gotta admit. Again, I'll put links in the description. Check it all out. Again, go check out the original source, ASKAPOL. Again, links in the description. So let's talk about that last clip. Again, this idea to get more funding, right? Fake alien threat. This will allow us to get more funding in the defense budget, right? Spend more money. And that Lou Elizondo has been accused of being part of this psyop, right? Being a former intelligence officer, right? People say once you're in, you're never really out, And Representative Eric Burlison saying it's completely logical to have that skepticism at first. Once you learn of Luis Elizondo's background, what he's done, it's completely reasonable to have that thought, right? To think it's fake, that Lou Elizondo is not just lying for his own benefit, but part of a bigger, push or movement, right, as part of the psyop. He's saying that's completely logical, and it sounds like he thought potentially the same thing, so we asked Lou Elizondo, right? So, because you always hear that argument, how anyone thinks that is crazy or stupid or special or you're nuts, or I see that on Twitter, and again, it's not nuts to think that, or to at least have that skepticism, right? It would be nuts to just outright believe people all the time. That's what would be nuts. It's okay to be a little cautious and want to ask questions and get more information before you come to your conclusion, right? And that's all Eric Burlison is saying. Like, it's okay to, be a little cautious and wonder. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So that's interesting. And he's saying Lou Elizondo's answer is basically, no, we wouldn't do that because we wouldn't, we'd have to lie to Congress and we don't want to go to jail. Which is an interesting answer. But to be fair to Lou Elizondo, is that how the conversation went down? Did he say more? Is there more context? Probably. Right? So just to be fair to that whole situation, it's not like that's the only thing Luis Elizondo said. We don't know. Right? Was there more to that conversation? But if we were to just take that statement on its own, yeah, that's a little odd response, right? To that. So, I don't know. What do y'all think in the comments, right? Again, I think to be fair to Luis Elizondo, we don't know the full context of that conversation that they had. Right? So, to sort of just pass judgment there is, yeah, interesting. But the thought that once you're in the CIA, you're never really out, yeah, once you're an intelligence officer, you're kind of never out of that. That is kind of true. Just, it is what it is. So anyway, those are the clips. Again, links in the description. Let me know what y'all think. David Grusch potentially working for congressional staff, other members, thoughts on Luis Elizondo and what Eric Burlison said about him. Even he thought potentially this could be part of a psyop, right? So very interesting. Just saying. Very, very interesting. And Eric Burlison making sure that he hasn't been misled on this, right? And I think what he's following is the claims that can be verified, which is the stuff David Grusch pointed out about over-compartmentalization, right? The stuff about aliens cannot be validated, at least not yet, right? But that's why Eric Burlison wants to continue to look into it, right? So I think from his standpoint, he's probably like, I'm not being misled because I'm being cautious, and I'm definitely just going down the path of, what we know, right? Now, I recommend checking out this entire interview. He says a lot of stuff. He kind of says, like, at one part, like, he doesn't really believe in this stuff, right? Aliens or whatever. But at the same time, leaves open that possibility. This is true, and we might have to accept this non-human presence, right? Which I think is a fair stance to take. So again, he says a lot of stuff. It's a great interview. It's loose. He's at the airport, and you can get people just being a little more open in that sort of scenario. If they're in a loose environment, they might be loose in what they talk about a little bit more, right? So it's a great conversation. Great job to Matt Laslo, and appreciate Eric Burlison sitting down with him to answer those questions, because we all get, to take that in and enjoy it. So anyway, and help us, understand a little bit better, maybe where they're coming from, where Congress is coming from on some of this stuff, right? So anyway, thank y'all again. Got a great video coming out tomorrow. Got an interview coming out tomorrow. Very excited to share that. So look forward to that. And we'll see you guys on tomorrow's episode. Don't forget, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. And of course, don't forget our Discord server opened up yesterday. I'm not sure how many members we got, but a lot, I think, or a little, I don't know. But, I'm pretty sure a lot of people went. So if you want to join in, please, let's start building that up. People are already in there talking and hanging out and discussing. So link in the description. Go check out the Discord server and join the other people. I think the last time I looked, it was like 150 something, but I could be wrong. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know Discord too well, but I'm figuring it out. So anyway, let's learn together in there if you're new to it as well, because the people that are running it, Daniel Clancy and the crew, they're doing a great job. They know how to run Discord. So I just count on them. Anyway, so shout out to Daniel for getting the Discord server set up. So anyway, we'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace, vetters.